Now, yesterday you guys were asked to watch a video, and on that video it was very simple. All you had to do, I think it was less than 3 minutes, right? It's very, very short. Was how long?
3:24.
3:24, so 3.5 minutes. Basically, all I really said is find the air or the volume. It's 3 dimension. What about the base? No.
Area of the base.
Area of the base times the height. So that's it. If you want to know how to find the volume of anything, it's the area of the base times its height. And again, this works no matter what, whether you're dealing with a prism or if you're dealing with a cylinder. It's the area of the base times the height. So what shape is the base on a cylinder? Think before you speak. What is the shape of the base on a cylinder? Circle. So how do you find the area of the base? Pi r squared. So again, if you look at a cylinder, it's the same formula. It's V equals pi r squared h, where your pi r squared represents capital B. So again, remember when we talked about different ways to, it's called the mathematical habits or mathematical practices, and one of them was conserve memory. If you remember talking about that really early on in the semester, one of the ways to be a better problem solver, Shay. And one of those ways that we talked about was this concept of conserving your memory. You don't need to memorize all those different formulas that are on that Ames reference sheet. It's a waste of your time. You know, I'll select few. If you understand that the volume is the area of the base times the height, all you have to do then is adapt that formula for the shape of your base. You don't need to memorize that a cylinder is pi r squared h as a separate formula. It's the same formula. It's the area of the base times the height. So you got to know the generals. Just like when we taught the surface area of prisms, is the perimeter of the base times the height of the prism plus twice the area of the base. And then all we did is we adapted that for a cylinder, because the cylinder is like a prism, except for it has a circular base rather than a polygon. And that's really all we're doing today. Area of the base times the height, and we're done. That's how you find volume. Now, spoiler alert, there's no video for Monday. And here's why. I couldn't really reason with myself to do a whole video on volume of pyramids and cones. Here's the difference. 1/3. Kid you not. That's it. How is the volume formula different for a pyramid versus a prism? The pyramid is 1/3 of the prism. The cone, guess what? Is 1/3 of the cylinder. That's it. It's the same freaking formula. Know one and be able to adapt and manipulate that one equation. Okay, let's say like number 1. Okay, what should, now guys, I want you to start writing these questions out when I ask them, because I think this is where a lot of you guys get lost. You don't ask yourselves the correct problem, the correct questions when you're working on it by yourself. So question 1, what is it that we're asked to find?
Surface area.
Okay, what lesson are we working on, Bree?
Volume.
Volume. Okay, so we want to find the volume of the shape there, number 1. What is that shape called? Okay, so we're dealing with a prism. How do you find the volume of a prism? Area of the base times the height. Good. Let's put in what we know. Do we know what the base is? What does the capital B represent?
The base.
What about the base?
20.
No. Area of the base. Do we know what the area of our base is?
Yes.
No. We can find it, but do we know it right now?
No.
No, we will eventually. I'll show you guys how to find that here in a minute. Do we know what the height of our prism is?
32.
Okay. So we know that the volume is something times 32. Okay. Now we're going to go find that something. What is the shape of the base? You guys write out that question? What is the area? I'm sorry. What is the shape of the base? And you guys told me it is a not a right triangle, but it's definitely a triangle.
It's a right triangle.
No, it's not.
Or it's a cube.
What do you notice about this and this?
You're
Isosceles.
Isosceles. Good. How do you find the area of a triangle?
Base times half base times height.
1/2 base times height. Now, a lot of you guys might say, well, hey, I've already got my 20 as my base. I'll use that for my height. What's the problem?
You don't have it.
Yeah, this is not really able to find that. But if you look at it from a different perspective, instead I do that. Why would that help me out?
Because you know that other side length.
We use Pythagorean theorem. We know that in an isosceles triangle, the height bisects the base, and it creates another right triangle. And so, and this one actually kind of gets even more weird. There's a lot going on in this problem. There's no doubt about that. Well, this is why you got to look at it one step at a time. So we know that this length is 20. If my entire thing is 18, that makes that 9, and then we have h. Alright, so how would I solve for h? No?
9 squared minus 9 squared equals h squared.
Okay. So 9 squared plus h squared equals 20 squared. Corbin, I like what you said, but I think we're going to take it one step a little slower. Okay. So I got 9 squared plus h squared equals 20 squared. So that gives me 81 plus h squared is equal to 400. And therefore h squared is equal to 319. And therefore h is the square root of 319. Okay, so now that we know that, we can put everything in. Area of my base is 1/2 of 18 times the square root of. That's interesting. 319. Okay, and this is definitely where your calculators are going to be useful. Yeah, square root of 319 times 9. If you guys are using the inspires, I would definitely store this as the letter B. Right? And why would I do that? Because what does this actually represent? Area of the base. I would store that as B. So we get roughly 160.75.
What?
Did you go 9 times the square root of
I
319?
did square root 319 times 9.
No, they gotta get the 9 outside the square root. Okay, and then if we plug that in, where are we at? So take the square root 319. Make sure you definitely put that outside the brackets. Times 9. I'm going to store that as B. And then we just said over here that the volume is base times the height. So 160.75. And again, remember that 0.75 is an estimated value. So it's better to leave it in this, infinite decimal and just go B times 32. And we now have the area, which is
5,143.8.
183. No, 38.84.
151.
43. Okay, so that's right. 5143. Okay, now there's a lot involved in this problem, wasn't there? Was it really that difficult? Okay. Did you guys see how we used the questioning to get us where we needed to go? You guys understand that? That's what you guys need to start developing is your correct questioning strategies. Okay, on to number 2, we have a cylinder.
Pi r squared h.
Well done. The volume of a cylinder, pi r squared h. Okay, what is my radius?
5.
V10.
Right, what is my height?
10. Pi 25 times 10. Pi 250.
250 pi. Guys, remember we talked about math as a foreign language and it has its own language rules? Pi, you would treat like a variable, so you say 250 pi. And then, oh, by the way, one thing we did not do in the previous problem, what are my units?
Centimeters.
No, centimeters what?
Cube.
Cube.
Feet.
Okay, on the previous problem, that would have been feet what?
Cube.
Feet cube.
Do you have the other side or the other side?
We will. Okay, number